This beautiful face behind me belongs to Asatta Jones. She's an aerialist, yoga teacher, host of the podcast What Makes Me Well with Asatta Jones, where she and her guests discuss the different aspects of their lives and what makes them well and how they maintain it. And she believes the mind-body connection. We've had a lot of that this morning. And she combines the physical with her background in mental health psychology to safely challenge each student to achieve his or her personal goals. And she's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to give her a huge hug when she comes up here. So please welcome her to the stage, Asatta Jones. Would you like this or no? And you don't have to be on the stage if you don't want to.
I think I can project pretty well.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me in the back?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Everybody give it up for Anna. Thank you so much for showing up. I know Saturday mornings can be kind of tough. I happen to teach a class on Saturday mornings, an aerial class, so I know it can get pretty tough. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Anna, and AIGA as well. So. Better? Okay. I guess I'm not as loud as I think, but that's okay. So yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Heidi, your talk was wonderful. You stole half my stuff, girl. What am I going to talk about now? No, I'm kidding. You didn't. But a lot of it, yeah, it's wonderful how it goes together. Thank you, Anna, for that. You're so good. So I'm here to talk to you about stress reduction and different ways to combat stress. So here's the thing. Unfortunately, there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer for stress relief. We are all different and unique human beings. So what stresses us out, the stressors, are different. So the wonderful thing about that is that we are all going to have different prescriptions. Some people enjoy a high-intensity workout. Some people enjoy more quieter activities like reading. I myself am a little bit of both. Depending on the stressor, I will choose different activities. If I am stressed about an upcoming competition or a performance that one of my students is in and I'm coaching them, I will listen to a podcast. I will listen to something that will pull me out of the current situation, and I can put down my coaching hat for a while, which is nice, and I can just chill for a minute. Now, if I'm stressed out about my podcast episodes and that I'm not putting them up in time, the last thing I want to do is listen to somebody else's podcast because they're doing their work on time and I'm not. That actually adds to my stress. So I don't listen to podcasts. What I do instead is I try to remove myself from entertainment. So maybe I will go for a walk with my dog, or maybe I'll practice yoga, something that reminds me that it's okay. The answers to stress relief isn't universal. But what is universal is that we become stressed because of physical or mental tension or emotional strain. Our brain, the stress is our brain telling us like, hey, something's wrong, this isn't right, and we need to address this. So our bodies then react. And sometimes we react with sweaty armpits, or sometimes we react with, exaggerated movements on stage. Stress can be different. There we go, laughter, that's good. All right, so here's the thing. Not all stress is bad stress. So we have this thing called eustress. We have eustress, and it's the type of stress that we typically want in life. Graduating, a promotion, meeting new friends, getting married, winning money. I want that stress in my life. I want to win money. Who wants to win money? Money. No? Nobody? Really? Okay. All right, there we go. Thank you. All right, so yeah, these are good stresses. we're not going to talk about stresses today, sorry. But I want you guys to be aware that not all stress is bad stress, and we want to welcome these new things in our lives, like meeting new friends, like taking a risk and going for that job promotion. Those are things that may give us that feeling of panic, but in all, it's good for us to experience these things because growth is really great. So today, what we're going to talk about, or what I'm going to talk about, is a different kind of stress. The stress that is a lot more toxic to us, and it is the most dangerous type of stress, and that's chronic stress. So chronic stressors are the stressors that are defined as the daily struggle. Who's heard of the struggle bus? Struggle bus, yeah. That is things like paying our monthly bills, the debt and the stress of being in debt and the stress of being in poverty, the stress of heavy traffic, and what we have going on in I-4, that's not heavy traffic, that sucks. Because it is prolonged and because so many of us have to get on that stretch of highway every single day for our commute, it changes from acute stress, which is stress that we are exposed to for short periods of time, but it turns into chronic stress, which is so much more damaging for us. Another type of chronic stress is the stress of taking care of kids. I hear that's a tough one, God bless. The stress that comes from the lack of proper nutrition. Some of us don't have the ability to eat as well as we know we should. And because we know we should be eating better, it is a source of stress for us when we don't. Also, a toxic work environment and a toxic home life. Those are two really important things I'd like to mention as far as chronic stressors, because sometimes we feel like we can't control where we work and we can't control our coworkers, and some of them can be really toxic. That exposure to that toxic environment, that exposure to that toxic person at work and at home can be really, really bad for our health. So let's talk about things that a continued exposure to chronic stress can bring. It's not great. So chronic stress can cause or will cause severe irritability, tension headaches. Who experiences tension headaches? Yeah. Tension headaches, insomnia, depression, fatigue, digestive changes. I was trying to find the best way to talk about issues, but digestive changes, and I'm going to say that in my yoga voice when I do. But digestive changes, those are that's a real thing. Your gut is, trust your gut. That's a legitimate thing. Your body will tell you, your gut will tell you when something's wrong. So if we can or go too much, that is something that we should be aware of. And also changes in your appetite and changes in your sex drive. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but sex drive is something that is majorly affected by the stressors in your life. And I don't want to be too crass, but we all know that sex is a big part of life and is important to a lot of people. And on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, chronic stress can lead to severe diseases like coronary disease. And I know that is something that if you take a look at, if you think about your family, 1 or 2 people in your family are affected by this. It is one of the most popular diseases that we have, unfortunately. So the short of it, chronic stress is bad. I know, I just brought down the mood so bad. Sorry, Heidi. You did such a great job, and I just came in here and I'm like, wah, wah, wah. But here's the deal. There are real ways that we can fight chronic stress, and we can learn ways to manage it. So the most important thing that we need to think about before I just rattle off a list of things that you can do, is that unless we unless we identify and figure out what exactly is causing the stress in your life, and you come up with a plan to manage it, the relief that you find is only going to be short-lived. And so then what happens is you bring yourself back down to a place of calm, and then you go right back again and you expose yourself to these stressors. And then the adrenaline starts to kick in, that cortisone starts to kick in, your body goes into that panic mode, and that stress and panic mode, and you find yourself right back to square one. And that is not helpful. That is not good for your body. And in long terms, like I said before, all of these problems, all of these diseases can come up. So this is where it gets a little bit confrontational. Again, the yoga voice, confrontational. Identifying stressors in your life and creating a plan to manage them can be extremely overwhelming. Let's talk about a toxic work environment. Okay, how do I address a toxic work environment? Oh man, that means that I'm gonna have to actually speak up and talk to my boss about it, or maybe talk to that particular employee, and that brings up even more stress. I find that the best way to start to address that action plan is to quiet the mind. And this is where we go back to meditation. So, there's an exercise that I'd like to try with you just for a few moments. And by the looks of you guys shifting around, you know exactly where I'm going to go with this. So, I want everybody to sit up nice and tall. Just find yourself in a comfortable position. Yeah. Awesome. I love this part of meditation, where everybody just is quiet and anticipating and staring at me like, all right, make us calm. No. What we're going to do actually is just start to notice the breath coming in and out of your nose. Yeah. I'm going to start to count up from 4, and I want you to breathe in as I count up, and I want you to breathe out as I count down. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. How do we feel? Pretty good. So it's from this place, like just this moment of calm right here, where you're not feeling attached to really anything, that I really truly believe that we make the best decisions for ourselves. So that little bit of meditation you can, like Heidi had mentioned, you can do throughout your day. You can start your day with it. But I find that meditating on what stresses me out lets me come up with an action plan. Because if I think about what I'm mad about, what I'm stressed about, while in the throes of what I'm mad about and what I'm stressed about, I'm not going to get the real answer. What I'm going to get, however, is all of the external excuses, things that I'm emotional about, things that I'm fearful about. I'm going to take a little side journey here. One of the things that Heidi's presentation reminded me of is a wonderful quote that a dear friend of mine, it's an original, she says, it's really easy to be calm and peaceful when nothing's going on, right? It's like when all of the extra stuff happens that we forget that peaceful center, we forget that light that we have inside of us. So that same idea, that same concept is what got me to quiet down and think about my action plan for those stressors, whatever they may be. Could be about work, could be about finances, could be about a friend, one of my students, a client, whatever the case may be. If I start from that place of quiet, that place of calm, that place of non-attachment, I can really be honest with myself, and you can be honest with yourself, about about what is the real cause of the stress. So, going back to. Okay, so, meditation, right. That is my first tip for you. Find yourself quiet, whether you are taking a walking meditation, whether you are sitting down, you can meditate while you're at a red light. It really doesn't need to be a very long time. You don't have to meditate for 5 minutes at a time to really plug in. What is important is that you do it often. I find that when I am only meditating once a day, or I only get a chance to meditate once every couple of days, it gets really hard to settle into that space. So even if you only have like 2 minutes every couple of hours, take those 2 minutes and sit and reflect. Get quiet for a moment. Allow yourself to reflect. Because the more you do it, the easier it'll be to plug into that place. And then when we plug in, like I said before, we can really find the best course of action that works for us. The second tip that I have for you is is changing your negative self-talk to positive self-talk. How many of us, say like when we mess up, we're like, "Oh, great job, genius," or something a little bit worse than that. There we go. Okay, good. Honesty is so important. Yeah, let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, a lot of us talk to ourselves much more negatively than we would talk to a friend, and that's not helping anything. If you know you are chronically late, who in this room is chronically late? Yeah, lateness. Whoop, whoop. If we know and I'm saying we because I didn't show up. I'm late. I'm very late to some things sometimes. But if we are chronically late, and we know we have a habit of being chronically late, and we're in traffic, and we're like, "Ooh, I need to be there in 2 minutes, and I'm not 2 minutes away." What is the use? What is the use of beating yourself up right then and going, "God, you do this all the time. Why don't you do better? Do better, Jones." I tell myself that all the time. Do better, Jones. Who am I helping? No one. So changing that negative self-talk to positive self-talk can be really helpful for yourself. When we continuously beat ourselves up or we continuously tell ourselves that we are less than, that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough, even though on some level you can look back and see all the receipts, all the degrees, the certificates, or whatever you may have, and know that it's not true, on some level you will begin to believe it because it's the messages that we tell ourselves that we internalize. Bringing it back up. Make art. Doing art is really amazing. Creating art, I should say, is really amazing. You can draw, color, painting, playing a musical instrument, or dancing dancing in your living room like a crazy person, because I do not paint or draw or play a musical instrument. Any of these things, it's just really helpful to separate yourself from what you're feeling stressed about. So that way you can put down that hat for a few moments. Like I said before, if we know our action plan and if we create an action plan for our stressors, of course, things are going to come up. And sometimes taking the time and, doodling a little picture or taking a little dance break, if we have the ability. Or, if you don't care and you have an office and you don't care people looking at you like a crazy person while you're dancing, take a dance break in the office. But doing those things can really, really help you out and take you away from that stressful situation or take you out of your stressful day if you choose to spare anybody you dancing in the office. Spare no one. There you go. It's just nice to be carefree for a moment. It doesn't, when these adult coloring books started to become mainstream, I remember just scoffing and going, ugh, how ridiculous. But that was just my own ego because I was just too egotistical to to really be honest with myself and go, you know what, I did miss coloring. That was amazing back then. Why don't we just color when nothing mattered? But it takes a little bit to not only carve that into your time to have the availability to color, but also to just be honest with yourself and let go and be carefree for a few minutes. Another really great exercise that I recommend that is along the lines of, being carefree, but if you're like me, you like to feel productive while you're reducing stress. It doesn't make sense, but I like it. You can work on a scrapbook or a photo album or something that allows you to focus on good memories. I think that's a really great idea because if you're like myself and you have a drawer of cluttered pictures and you're like, yeah, one day I'll get to that. Actually doing a scrapbook, making a scrapbook, creating something will make you feel productive while you are de-stressing. It also let you focus on oh, hey, I remember that cousin. She was awesome. Good memories. Myself, I am not a very big fan of photos, but I do, and this is kind of strange, stay with me, I like to be productive, and I clean my house. I know, it's so weird. The shame, I feel it. I feel the shame. So for me, cleaning my house is really therapeutic. I can literally put down anything that I'm thinking about. Nothing matters because at the end of the day, I need a clean house to live in, and that's a really good excuse. I can avoid a couple emails and be like, oh, I was swamped. I had to clean the house. Nobody's gonna say, no, don't clean your house. That's insane. Nobody will say that to you. So for me, when I take a moment and I clean my house, it makes me feel like I can, or it makes me feel good about taking care of my home. I'm still a renter, so it's really important for me to feel good in my home because I don't own a home. So I find that just cleaning it, making it a livable space for me and my loved ones is really therapeutic for me. It's not for everybody, obviously, but I think it's kind of a really good tip for some weirdo in the back that might be like me in secret shame that likes to clean their house. So another tip that I think is pretty standard, reading a book, a short story, or a magazine is really awesome. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Audible app, and if you're not, it is really amazing. Books on tape. You can have authors reading to you. I have just finished with a really funny book by a comedian and writer Phoebe Robinson. Everything is trash, but it's okay. It's a really good book. It was a really great book, and it was nice I find driving in traffic pretty stressful, and it was nice to be able to listen to a book on tape or listen to something while I was in a pretty stressful situation to help me navigate those waters. So if you haven't checked out Audible, it's really great. They give you a 1-month free trial, and they are not paying me to say that. Another great tip is meeting with a friend for coffee or tea. You don't This is where I like to have a big disclaimer. Your friend, unless she is a licensed therapist or he is a licensed therapist, you don't want to like emotionally dump on them, but it is nice to share your, your troubles, or it's nice to share some things with friends, and that I feel like that is a mark of a true friendship, right? Can we carry each other's burdens for a little bit? Can you listen to my pain, and can you empathize with me? And sometimes it's really nice to just be heard. Sometimes we don't need answers. We just want to be listened to and heard and understood. Another great tip is picking up hobbies like sewing or knitting, making jewelry. Do we have any jewelry makers in the house or knitters? Nice. That's really awesome. I definitely admire that. And I hear that is very much like golf, where you have to be mindful, or really golf or yoga practice, any sort of activity where the brain and the body have to connect, and you can't let the external get in your way. So another great tip that I am sure everyone here has done once or twice, listening to music. Music lovers in the house? Yeah, listening to music is pretty great. The important thing to keep in mind is that music has a certain energy, right? So maybe thrasher style isn't the best type of music for when you're stressed out, but I mean, I don't know your life, maybe it does. But I feel like it is really, music is really therapeutic, and a really great way to allow yourself to just be whisked away into whatever story the artist is telling you. A relaxing bath is wonderful, or a shower if you don't have the access to a bath. And we've mentioned this before, but practicing yoga. I don't want to toot my own horn or self-promote, but yoga is really amazing. Just like I mentioned, that mind-body connection is a really wonderful way to tune inwards, and really decide what is the best way to move forward for you. So something that I would like to mention before I go is that, like I said at the top, we all stress out differently. So our prescriptions for relaxing will be different. Not everybody is going to like a bubble bath. Not everybody likes to color. So take time with yourself to decide what you like. It's kind of like dating. You don't necessarily like the first thing you try. And if you don't like a bubble bath, that's okay. That's when you have to go back and be honest with yourself and say, oh, bubble baths aren't for me, but maybe a bath with essential oils and a good book is better. Hey, there we go.
I make bread, so I get to punch something.
Making bread.
And then I eat it.
That is wonderful. Make bread, punch something, and then eat it. I feel like that needs to be on a t-shirt, and maybe I'll make a t-shirt. That is wonderful. Yeah, so our prescriptions for stress relief are a bit different, are going to be different. So give yourself permission to try a couple things. Give yourself permission to date around, for lack of a better word. So at the end of the day, you guys, stress is unavoidable. Like I said, stress is a good thing. There are some stressful events that we cannot avoid, but what we can do is, make a arsenal of stress relieving tips that we know work for us, so that way we can navigate the waters of that stressful situation as gracefully as possible. Thank you for having me, you guys. Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Oh, does anybody have any questions? We will have Asatta back up here after lunch, but if you have a question right now, throw it.
I have a question. So you said that you have changed the language for yourself, and you say positive things to yourself.
Yes.
Can you give us an example of what you do say?
Yeah. So, like I said, chronic lateness, right? So I tell myself, all right, Asatta, you need to be out of the house at X amount of time. If I'm not out of the house at X amount of time, at X time,
going, come on, get it together. Like, you always do this. I say, it's all right. Keep going. Like, it's okay. Maybe go a little faster. Okay. Hey, girl, do you really need to do that, or can those dishes wait? You know, instead of going, oh, you gotta get it all done. It's a matter of being polite to myself and almost talking, not almost, talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend, right? I mean, hopefully you don't have a toxic relationship with them.
Going back to the toxic friend, hopefully you're not that toxic friend in your friendship. No, but you want to talk to yourself like you would talk to a good friend. You got this. You can do it. Oh, you didn't leave on time. It's okay. You knew yourself. You gave yourself an extra 5 minutes because you knew this was going to happen, Asatta. You know. Another thing that I tell myself if I have a tendency to, as a teacher, as an instructor, I want to give my students the best cueing possible. They're performers. They're aerialists. So literally, if I don't say something like arch your back, sometimes they could fall. It's not like that deep, but, well, I mean, it is deep, but it's not that scary. Don't look terrified. But sometimes if I don't give the appropriate cue, it doesn't happen the right way. So if that happens, because I am human, sometimes I say left arm rather than right arm and stuff like that. Yeah, nobody gets hurt. I haven't dropped a person in 10 years. It's fine. It's fine. I tell myself, you're human. You're human. And any other coach in my position has messed up before. At the end of the day, they did not fall. They did not die. They are still alive. But did they die, though? No. Then you did a great job, Asatta. You're a great coach, Jones. Yeah. No one died today. It's all right. Anybody else have any questions? Cool. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys after lunch.
Asatta is coming back to the stage for 15 minutes of very gentle movements so we don't lose our lunch. Well, please welcome her back to the stage.
Costume changes. Okay, so I wanted to get us moving a little bit. If you're still munching on your food, munch away. But if you have already finished eating, stand up and come into this space here. Now, right? Leaving our safe table space. Is it okay if I do this on Tony Joyce right now? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Just say yes. Let's do it. Yeah, moving into the space away from the. I was like, oh my god, away from the table. Away from the table. Okay, so what we're gonna start to do is just move in this space. Just move around each other. Move around each other. Just keep moving. Move. If you've taken an improv class, you know what's happening. Yeah, just keep moving around. Don't hit each other. Just move. You don't have to move in the same direction. We can maybe go backwards, forward. Keep moving. Hi. Peace be with you. Yeah. Keep moving. Break up the pattern. There you go. Yeah, I love it. Keep moving. And stop. Change directions. Going opposite direction. Keep moving. I know, this is weird. Let's be weird together. No, don't bump into each other. Don't bump into each other. Yeah, so maybe we need to like shift directions to avoid each other. Sound effects work. They really do. Yes, oh, we're hearing it. Start moving a little faster in space. Start moving a little faster. Be a bit more mindful about what's happening with our bodies. Where are our arms? Where are our legs? Now that I'm just weaving in and out of these chairs. Moving too. Good. Keep going faster. What happened? We lost a sense of urgency. We're focused now. We're focused. Yeah. Good. Keep going faster. Don't bump into each other. What's happening? Don't bump into. crashed into each other.
That might make
Think for a second about how high your knees are coming up as you walk. Can we pick up our knees a little bit higher? I never think about my knees when I walk. Cute or your shirt still up. Think about your hips. Think about your hips now. Think about your hips now. There you go. I like that imagery. And now think about your shoulders. With the shoulders. Are we holding tension? We're a bit anxious about bumping into people, or can we relax? Yes, he's I love that I haven't said it yet, but everybody's shimmying. So let's just go ahead and shimmy it out for a little bit. Especially shimmy.
I've always thought I could do bigger boobs.
There we go. All right, everybody pause. Turn and face me. Take a nice deep breath and bring your hands up. On your exhale, bring your hands down through space. One more time, bring your hands up. Exhale, bring your hands through space. Again, hop back to your table. Don't sit down. Just go back to your table. So quiet. At your table, you can put your hands on the edges. Your hands on the edge of the table. And we're going to take a modified downward facing dog on the table. So your hands are just going to go straight down. Take a couple steps back. Bend the knees if you need to. Let your chest just drop down between your arms. Yep, we're sticking our booties out. It's okay. We're all friends. That's why we know each other. Hi, my name is Asatta.
That's how dogs say hello.
That's how dogs say it. Good. Continue to keep your head down. I know. Like, has she forgotten about me? I haven't forgotten about you. Heads up, step up. Just kidding. Start to bend your right knee and just take a glance underneath your left arm. Yeah, just a little gentle twist. Straighten out your right leg. Start to bend your left leg. Take a little glance underneath your right arm. Good. Slowly bring yourself back to center. Bend both knees as you roll up here. Good. Bringing the hands back up to the sky. Take a nice deep breath in. Interlace your palms together and take a little lean over to the left. We're going to be facing opposite directions. That's a girl. Softly bend the knees. Reach for the ground. And we're going to take it up in the center. Bringing the hands back up to the sky. We're leaning over to the right side. Good. Bend both knees around your back. Allow yourself to take it back to the middle. And slowly roll back. Okay. I want you to bring your arms out nice and wide. Take up space here. We might need to spread out. That's okay. Whack your neighbor. It's fine. Thanks, Paula. Now what I want you to do is take that right arm, trace it over your body, reach for your left arm. Good. Keep twisting. Keep twisting. Maybe interlace your fingers together. Keep twisting. Now look over your left shoulder. Good. If your stance is pretty narrow, widen your stance here so you can start to feel this nice stretch from your right shoulder all the way down to your right. When you're ready, take yourself back to center. We're going to twist to the other side. Left hand reaches over your chest or your right hand. Keep twisting. Keep twisting. Look over your right shoulder. Keep twisting even though you think you can't twist anymore. Allow yourself to come back to center. Good. Let your hands come down to the side. You can place your hands on your hips and just clear out a little space for you. So you might need to move over to the side. We are going to bring ourselves into a little baby lunge. So I say little baby lunge because we are not coming all the way down to like stretching the limits of our flexibility. Just take a little half step forward, please. There you go. Softly bend that right knee. Take a nice deep breath in. Bring your hands up. Hey, we're doing yoga. Good. Take a nice exhale to come down into your squat again. We're turning the party over to the left side. Turn towards your left. Straighten out your right leg. Some of you are happening. What's happening with my right leg? Now I want you to pick up the heel on that right leg. Good. Hands go to the thigh of your left thigh. And now once again, press up on the ball of your right foot. Allow yourself to come back down, bending both knees, open up to the center one more time. Take a nice deep breath in, reach up in the middle. Hands are going to go to your waist, and I want you to softly bend both knees, pull this straight down the middle. Good. Now we just ate, so coming all the way down may not be preferable, but allow the knees to just soften. Let the head tuck into the chest, and just from here, take a few deep breaths as you decompress your spine. From here, tuck the chin into the chest. Slowly allow yourself to roll up. Good. Bring the hands up to the sky one more time. Exhale, bring the hands up. And elbows into the waist. Interlace your hands behind your back. Good. From here, you can keep the knees bent, or you can keep them straight. We're going to open up our chest, look up. And if you'd like to make this a little bit spicier, adding a little back bend, go ahead and back bend. If you can fully go into a wheel, I'm just kidding. When you're ready, let yourself come up here.
Oh my goodness.
Good. Release the bind that you have on your arms and just shake it all out here. Good. Lean, put the weight of your body on your left leg. Shake out that right leg. Shake it out, like it out. Shake it out. Good. Put the weight of the body onto the right leg. Shake it out. Good. Bring the hands up. Shake it up. Shake it up inside. Shake it out. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Spice girls, anybody? No. All right. Interlace, roll your wrist out for a second here. Good. Do a couple jazz hands. Send some magical sparks out into the world. Doesn't really mean much, but it is fun. Good. Now from here, I want us to bring our hands together. We're going to take 5 deep cycles of breath. On the inhale, obviously, it's going to be big, it's going to be deep. On the exhale, I want you to blow into your hands and create friction. Yes? Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more times. Inhale. Exhale. Building heat. One more. Inhale.